I know you've heard me say this before, but it's worth repeating. You can't call yourself a real estate expert unless you're actually a real estate expert. One of the most powerful strategies that I used at listing appointments to list hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of homes was mastering the market absorption rate and how to use it at a listing appointment. So that's a mouthful, right? Market absorption rate. We're gonna get to exactly what it is, how you can use it, and how you can implement it into your business in a minute. Hey, it's Al Stasek. I help team leaders, brokers, and real estate agents scale and grow their business in today's fast-paced digital world. And before we get started, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of the great content that I put out on helping you grow your business. Oh, and one more thing, the most important thing that agents, team leaders, and brokers need going into a turning market is clarity. We've developed an easy paint-by-numbers document that'll walk you through a process and produce a blueprint so that you can double your business in 2023. Just go to StasekClarityReport.com and get your free copy today. We're gonna go over the 3 things that you're gonna be able to use this report for to position yourself as an expert and win more listings. The first thing we're gonna go over is what actually is a market absorption rate and how should I be using it in my listing appointments? Number 2, I'm gonna actually demonstrate for you guys exactly how you can run the report using your multiple listing service in less than 5 minutes before you go on a listing appointment. And if you stay to the end, not only am I gonna show you how to use the market absorption rate in your listing appointment, but I'm also gonna show you how I used it to position myself as the real estate genius in my market and literally win hundreds of listings. Let's get started. A market absorption rate is simply the amount of homes that are selling in a particular market over a particular given period of time. And what we're really looking for is how many months of inventory are on the market based upon how many homes are sold in the past 3 to 6 months versus how many homes are actually on the market. And there's a simple way to find this equation, and I'm gonna share with you exactly how to do it. So when I looked at market absorption rates in my market, I would be really looking at how many months of inventory are on the market based upon how many active listings there are currently today. If there's 6 months of inventory on the market, we usually look at that as the medium amount, meaning it's not really a buyer's market and it's not really a seller's market, but it's more of a balanced market, and that's usually our benchmark we use when we're speaking with the seller. In simple terms, if there's 3 months of inventory, that would be a seller's market. On the other hand, if there's 9 months of inventory, that would be a heavier buyer's market. The market is more favoring the buyer than the seller at that point because there'd be more inventory for buyers to choose from. So the biggest reason why we want to be using the market absorption rate in our listing appointments is so that we can demonstrate to the sellers that we are not only an expert, but we're an authority when it comes to selling their property. Why is it important for us to be an authority when we're meeting with a seller? We need them to listen to us when it comes time to pricing the property, when it comes time to preparing the property. If we can't establish authority and trust in the listing appointment, it's gonna be really, really hard to get them to listen to us when it's time to do the things that they're gonna need to do to sell the home in the shortest period of time for the most amount of money. Okay, now that you know what the market absorption rate is and why it's so important, I'm gonna actually show you 3 minutes or less how you can run a market absorption rate report, and then I'm gonna show you how to use it in your next listing appointment. All right, so let's have some fun and actually do a demonstration on what I would do before I went on a listing appointment to get the data that I needed out of the market absorption rate and how I exactly used it to position myself as a real estate genius with my sellers and win hundreds and hundreds of listings. So here, let's get into this. So I'm in my local MLS right now. I'm in the Cleveland area, and we're gonna use a suburb called Westlake, Ohio. It's just a really good suburb for us to use as an example for this demonstration. Because it's very desirable and there's lots of real estate being sold in that zip code. So over here you see I chose Westlake. I'm also using single family home. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come up and click on sold. And I'm gonna make sure that this says 90 days. We're only gonna go back 3 months in a market like this. The reason is the market's moving very quickly right now. It's actually shifting very quickly as of the recording of this video, and I want accurate data as possible. What I used to do years and years ago when we were in more of a normal market is I went back 180 days and did the same process that you're gonna see here, but for the purposes of this, so that you can use it today, I would be using 90 days on the solds. So what I'm gonna do is I have Westlake 90 days, and I'm gonna go specifically into a price range that I know that this house is gonna sell somewhere between $300,000 and $400,000. So I'm gonna go ahead and punch in $300,000 to $400,000 up here, and it's kicking out 21 matches. So what that means, and I want you to write that down, 21. And so 21 homes have sold and actually closed over the last 3 months. Now there's way more than that under contract right now, but we're looking at what has sold just in the last 3 months. And that's 21. So the quick math is, if we divided 21 homes and we divided that into 3 months, so 3 into 21 goes 7 times. What that tells us is there's about 7 homes that are actually selling in Westlake between $300,000 and $400,000. Now our next step is we're gonna figure out what the actual market absorption rate is. How many homes are actually on the market? How many months of inventory, are actually on the market? So what we're gonna do by that is we're gonna uncheck the solds and we're gonna check active listings. And there's 7 active listings that come up. So here's the quick math. We know that there's 7 homes on the market right now active, and we know that there's 7 per month in this price range from $300,000 to $400,000 in Westlake that are selling every single month. So the quick math we all know is that there's 1 month of inventory on the market for this particular price range in Westlake, Ohio. So knowing what we know about the market absorption rate and knowing that there's only 1 month of inventory on the market, do you think that that's a buyer's market or a seller's market? Well, of course, it's a seller's market. When we have 1 to 6 months of inventory on the market, we know that that's a seller's market, meaning it favors the seller because there's hardly any inventory for buyers to choose from out there. Therefore, they're typically gonna get more offers, there's higher demand, and we're gonna see higher prices. Okay, so I hope that demonstration was easy for you to follow and really just focus on mastering it. You can literally do this. I did it in as little as sometimes 3 minutes before my listing appointment. And next, I'm gonna show you exactly how to use this easy to calculate data so that you can explain it to your sellers, position yourself as this expert or this market genius, and win more listings. So this is how I would use that data. First of all, I'd run that report and I would write those simple numbers down. How many months I went back, how many homes have sold in that particular price range and zip code. And I'd also look at how many homes are actually on the market for the seller. One of the first things I would start to do when I sat down at the kitchen table, and this is where most agents, what they do is they start to go over all the sold data and all the active data, and that's for another video. So I would memorize the number of sales over the last 3 months. I would memorize how many homes are on the market, and I would memorize the months on the market. And guys, trust me, it's not that hard to do. Anybody can really do this. And I would literally have this on a piece of paper, and before I walked up to the front door, I would literally go over it in my mind over and over and over again. And the reason that I did this was I wanted to be able to demonstrate to these sellers that I was their expert, that I was a market genius, and I actually knew these numbers right off the top of my head without having to look on a paper. Because what most agents do is they come in with the stack of papers and they're looking at the data, and that's all good and fine. I wanted to demonstrate that I knew this market inside, outside, and better than any other agent that they might be interviewing. So I used this technique, memorized those quick numbers, and it would go something like this. Before we get started and really doing a deep dive on the market, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I wanted to give you more of a 1,000-foot view of what's going on in Westlake, Ohio between $300,000 and $400,000. Would that be okay? Of course, they're gonna say okay, great. So here's what we know. We know that between $300,000 and $400,000 over the last 3 months, there's been 21 sales. These are homes that would have competed with you if you listed your house today, but they actually sold over the last 90 days. So what does that mean to you? Well, it means that every month in your price range, there's 7 homes that are being sold to a new buyer in Westlake between $300,000 and $400,000. Now, the second thing that I want to explain to you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, is that there's 7 homes on the market that you would currently be competing with. In fact, if we listed your house tomorrow, you'd be the 8th listing in that price range in Westlake. Doing the simple math, what I like to look at is what's called a market absorption rate. I know that's kind of a technical term we use in real estate, but what that means to you is that when we look at there's only 7 homes on the market and there's 7 selling every month, that means there's only 1 month of inventory on the market, and that tells us it's still a heavy seller's market. So chances are we're gonna get lots of offers. We're probably gonna get toward the higher end of the spectrum on my pricing recommendation just because the supply and demand exists right now, heavily favoring the sellers. All right, so I hope that this was valuable to you and that you use this strategy on your next listing appointment. And by the way, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get, the more it's gonna roll off your tongue, and you'll be able to continuously position yourself as that expert, that celebrity agent in your marketplace that knows it inside, outside, and backwards. So I hope that it's been a big help for you. By the way, are you hungry, humble, and smart? And are you looking to double your business and scale it up versus just survive in the next 2023, this crazy shifting market? If you are, my partner Jay Kinder and I are partnering with agents to help them double their business all over the country. And we have a couple of very limited spots left in our partner program that you'd be able to partner with us in 2023 and take your business to the next level. Just go to callalbie.com or click on one of the links below to learn more about what it would be like to partner with us to explode your business to the next level. As we say at Honey Badger Nation, I'll see you at the top or from the top.